going to go ahead and turn it back over to our Program Quality Director, the incredible Lance Webster.
I want to thank all of you who are here. All of you who are officers, raise your hand, please. A club officer. And anyone who is not a club officer, raise your hand. You are welcome also. If you are not a club officer and you are here in this officer's training, I take it to mean that you want desperately to be an officer and you're going to be standing for officer in the elections in May. So congratulations, and I'm glad you're here. Over the next hour, I'm going to talk about a bunch of things that we want officers to be aware of. And the first thing that you need to be aware of is that if you did not sign in and indicate what officer position you have when you checked in outside, be sure and do so after this session or during the break or during lunch. If you did not sign in, I don't know you're here. Your club will not get credit for it. So just please keep that in mind. Just to be sure that you can recognize us when you see us, these are the top 3 officers in this district. I'm the number 2 Program Quality Director, Kathleen Lubin, who's doing a remarkable job. So in her absence, let's give her a round of applause. And I'll use this as a reminder, if any one of you has any idea about what might be a new club, talk to Kathleen. She can use all the leads that she can get. And of course, Janet Walters, who was here before, is our esteemed, I like to call her our cheerleader, but she's our district director. Yeah. Give her a round of applause.
And I just want to remind everybody, these are volunteers.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I get mileage. Okay. What we're going to discuss this morning, we're going to have a quick review of the Distinguished Club Program, because I'm sure you all know it, of the moments of truth, because you know those. We're going to spend some time on some leadership tools, some things that we think will help you as you work to lead your clubs. Then we're going to break out into breakouts at 10 o'clock. There will be a session for each officer position. How many of you feel like you are comfortable in your knowledge of what the DCP, the Distinguished Club Program, is and how it works? Raise your hands, please. And how many of you aren't quite sure and not quite, yeah, good. Okay, Distinguished Club Program it's not just earning 10 points. You know, you've all seen this sheet which lists the various things you can do to be distinguished, and we have it over here too. You earn points by having your members give speeches and move up the ladder of competent communicator, advanced communicator bronze, advanced communicator silver and gold, and advanced leader bronze and silver, and eventually get to distinguished Toastmaster. Every time one of those achievements is reached, your club gets a point. 2 points, 2 people reach that, you get 1 point, 2 more, you get another point for communication. And the same for leader. 1 person becomes a leader, you get a point, 1 more, you get another point. You have this information at home, and does someone have the little card? So let me see, is this mic working here? Oh good, I can walk around. This little card we have invented for your benefit. It's being given to every officer and to many other club members. And inside, it says Distinguished Club Program on the red page. These are the ways you earn the points to be a distinguished club. If you earn 5 points, you are distinguished. If you earn 7 or 8 points, you are select distinguished. And if you earn 9 or 10 points, you are what we want from every club. You are President's Distinguished. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Lance Miller, the former world champion, many of you have seen him speak, and he's one of my mentors, and he told me, he said, Lance saying to Lance, that's interesting. He said, Lance, actually, you know, I used to get phone calls from people in Australia and England saying, we'd like you to come and speak to us. We want you, we'll pay your way, we'll give you everything, just will you come? And I said, I think you want the world champion Lance Miller, not Lance Webster. Now, because I'm soon to be the district director, he's starting to get calls from people asking for me. Okay. Lance Miller told me that and I believe this, and I want you to believe this, there is no reason why every club in District 52 should not be president's distinguished. What does it take to make that happen? It takes, what's on that medal that you give out? Integrity. That means doing the things that you said you would do when you joined Toastmasters. There is a pledge, a Toastmasters pledge, on the back of the membership form you sign. And it says that you will do everything it takes to be a great Toastmaster. And that means giving speeches, and it means serving your club as an officer. Thank you, you're all doing that. Most of you are, and some of you will be. So there is no reason, if we are doing the things we joined Toastmasters for, there is no reason whatsoever why every club should not be president's distinguished. So now, many of you know that among my values are commitment and integrity and communication. I'm going to ask you to communicate now a commitment to me that I will hold you in integrity for. And that is, how many of you are willing to commit to your club being president's distinguished? Raise your hand. Janet, you taking notes? Okay, Janet's got all those names down. That means for some of you some hard work between now and then. It means making sure that people are giving speeches. And if there aren't enough speaking slots to get those speeches done, have some extra meetings. Find a way to do it. Cut out table topics for a meeting and put in 2 extra speeches. There are things you can do to make this happen. Now, there is a catch to this Distinguished Club program. You need to have at least 4 of your officers attend an officer's training. Every one of you who is an officer who is here in this room right now is contributing to that point. But your club may not have 4 officers. It may be just you or 2 or 3 of you. So make sure, please, that you have at least 4 officers trained between now and the end of February. And if you had 4 officers trained earlier in the year, at the earlier training, then you are eligible for that point. That's a DCP point. Getting at least 4 officers trained twice. Fair enough? So let's get that done. And I know we have contests coming up, but contests don't earn you any points. But the way they can earn you points is the people giving speeches to compete in the contest can get credit for those speeches. So use that too. Okay, that's the Distinguished Club program. It's pretty simple. The steps are right here. And I even put little boxes so with a Pentel you can check them off as you earn them. As officers of your clubs, it's your responsibility to make that happen. Now, I want to, I want you to remember that this is not just about earning points. It's a tool for measuring the degree to which your club is fulfilling your promise to its members and meeting the club's needs. We have no other way to measure. And this is it's a tool for you. It's not so much for us. We don't get anything if you get to be distinguished, select, or president's distinguished. We don't get medals. We don't get free trips to world conferences. What you get is the ability to let people who walk in the door of your club know that you are one of the best clubs in this district. So let's make it happen. Now, one catch is you have to have 20 members in your club to be distinguished, or the number of members you had on July 1 plus 5. So if your club only had 13 members on July 1, how many do you need by June 30th to be distinguished? Shout it out.
18.
You're better at math than I was. Very good. And if your club has 26 members on July 1, how many do you need June 30th in order to be President's Distinguished? 20. So you could lose a few members. Now, remember, one of the reasons Toastmasters wants you to earn points for this program by getting new members. If you get 4 new members, that's 1 point. 4 more new members, that's a 2nd point. Okay? It's because we know, worldwide, on average, most clubs lose about 1/3 of their membership in a year. So if you say you got 21 members, 1/3 is 7. So they want you to replace those 7 plus 1. Not bad. That's why those 2 points are in there, and that's why they're important. Now let's talk for a minute about moments of truth. How many of you, raise your hands, have a good understanding of moments of truth? In spite of the fact that it's all right up here on the block banner. Okay. So I'm gonna call your attention to this page. When you open this little folder, by the way, this thing folds up so it fits in your wallet or purse. I'm looking around, I see a lot of you haven't folded it up. So what you do is, you look at it like this, and the front of this card has got everything you need to know to talk to somebody about Toastmasters. It's got a brief description of Toastmasters. We're a 91-year-old worldwide organization of small neighborhood, company, community, or organization-sponsored clubs where people practice and get training in public speaking and leadership skills. You should all have that memorized. And then under that is what you get out of it. Well, you get past your public speaking fears, you get to improve your speaking skills, you get to develop leadership capability, and gain increased ability and self-confidence. So now you can, even if you can't remember these things, just open your wallet or pull up your purse, get this thing out and read it to somebody. And tell them, and because of this card, I've memorized this. Here's what our values are: respect, integrity, service, and excellence. You can remember that because of the letters R-I-S-E, rise. You join Toastmasters, you're going to rise in your job, you're going to rise in life, you're going to rise in the esteem of your colleagues and your friends. Now, somebody pointed out to me at the training that the top 3 went to last weekend in San Diego that RISE is a great acronym, but really it's integrity first, and respect, and service and excellence. But ERS doesn't sound as good as RISE. So let's talk about moments of truth. What this is, it's a way that somebody walking into your club as a guest, or your member walking into the 50th meeting they've been to, or whatever, it's a way they can tell that your club is serious about what it's doing and is good at what it's doing. So on this little card, you'll see first impressions, and there's a whole lot of things that go into first impressions. I'm not going to spend time on that. We did it at the last officer training. We'll do it at the next officer training. But first impressions are what people see when they walk in. Do they see a mess, or do they see organization? Are they greeted, or do they wander into a group of people who are talking to themselves? What is the first impression? Do you orient your new members, to the club, to the way clubs work? Do you have variety and fellowship and friendship and fun in your meetings? Like I can see you're all right now involved in fun. Okay. Are things planned? Are things organized? Is your membership strength up to par? If you have 6 members and somebody walks in and says, I don't want to give a speech to 6 people, that's not going to help me. Or, hey, there are only 6 people, I'm going to have to do a whole bunch of the work. No. You want at least 15, 20 people in a meeting. Typically if you've got 20 members, which is the goal, Holy Grail, 15 are going to show up, and that's enough to have every functionary position filled, and speakers, and table topics, and everything. And do you recognize, and this is an important one, do you recognize the achievements? When somebody gets a CC, do you call them up, do you honor them, do you give them a round of applause? Give them a certificate, they get a certificate and let you present it to them. Do you put a picture of them on your website, in your newsletter, emails, whatever? Honor people who do things. Okay. And like we saw examples of that this morning, we honored Asiya, who has done an amazing job with contest training, and she helps me run all the contests. And Elizabeth, with the website, has made this district, we've gone from a website, district52.org, that maybe 20 or 30 people visited during a year, to maybe 20 or 30 people are visiting a day. That's amazing progress. And you can find new stuff, interesting stuff, on our website. And we also have a program I'll mention in a minute called the Website Excellence Program. And there should be there's a workshop on that this afternoon you want to go to if your website is not excellent. So these are the club quality standards, moments of truth. And there is a flyer, which if you don't have, just email me, I'll email it to you. I may have included, I think I included it in your packet. So if I did include that in your packet, let me see your packet right here. Yeah, okay. Moments of truth. On the back of that is a list of places where you can fill out how your club could improve in the area of moments of truth. I'm going to spend 1 minute right now of silence while you look at that and fill out something in there. I want to know, I'm going to ask for a couple of people to let me know how they think their club could improve with regard to moments of truth. And believe me, every club has got something it could do to improve. Okay, who'd like to share something with us? Who else has got some way their club can improve? Something different than achievement recognition. Done. One more share. Ma'am. Now, what I want you all to do, this is just a brief exercise, but you have this form, and on the back you've got that list of possibilities. At your next club executive committee meeting of officers, I want you to take a look at that form as a group and fill out some things that you need to do and put some commitment to it, some integrity to it. By when will we get this done? Will you do that? Yes. Will you do that? Yeah! All right, thank you. I love it. Okay. Now, I'm going to speak for a moment about contests. We're going to shift gears regularly. We've done DCP, we've done Moments of Truth. I want you to know that most of you know this, but we expect every club in our district to have 2 contests, can be at the same meeting, in February. So most of you have 2 meetings, some of you may have 4 meetings, a couple of you only have 1 meeting. But at that meeting, we want you to have 2 contests. One is a table topics contest. How many of you have table topics in your meetings? Every hand should go up because that's a requirement of Toastmasters, that you have table topics, most of the time, unless you're crushing to get those speeches done. So all you got to do is have table topics and pick a winner, and that person can be the one who represents the club. But you want to involve as many people as possible in that, okay? And then the second one is what's called the international speech. Now, this is a special speech, happens every spring. Usually, the international speech is an inspirational speech. Doesn't have to be, but when you win at the club level, you go to the area. When you win there, you go to the division. When you win there, you go to the district, all of our district at the May Spring Conference. The winner there will go on to the World Championship in Washington, D.C. in August. Okay? And what we've noticed in looking back over the past 10, 15 years is that most, if not all, of the winners have been inspirational speeches. So I'm not telling you you have to do an inspirational speech, and I'm not telling you if you do an inspirational speech you'll become the world champion, but you will have a lot better chance. Whether it's you or whether it's that outstanding speaker in your club who is going to represent your club in this contest. So I want, we have had clubs that didn't participate and didn't have a contest. And that's a shame, because the contest is an opportunity for people in your club to really challenge themselves above and beyond what they normally do. And they're going to give this speech a number of times so they can really work on something. And if they don't get to be the world champion, they might still have a speech they can go out and give to Rotary clubs and Lions clubs and all the people who want speeches. And by the way, they usually pay you. Well, free lunch. And I'm going to give you a tip, because this is something that I found out the hard way. The reason we have timers and we time speeches is because most organizations like that, where you may end up speaking, most organizations give you 20 minutes. And the first time I spoke to a Rotary club, I had this great speech. And it went on about, well, I got to 20 minutes and I kept going, and I wasn't paying any attention. And the lady who invited me came up and stood next to me like this, smiling and looking at her watch while I was standing. Now, can you imagine Janet coming up here and standing here and smiling at me and looking at her watch? It was a humiliating experience because there were 100 people in the room. people I wanted to impress. I have never been overtime with a speech since, except in Toastmasters in my club. Okay, but seriously, contests are a place to really get serious about your public speaking and to take it to another level. That's why every club should have a contest, and the winners should move on. The area contests are in March, and the area directors are now putting in place contest chair people. We've asked the area directors not to actually do all the work this time, but to find someone else to do all the work and to coach them. That's part of leadership training. First you do it, then you teach somebody else how to do it. And those people who, and Janet and Kathleen and I will be watching the contest chairs to see who's really good, because those are the people we want to be area directors in the future, to take on larger layers of leadership. So find good people to do your contests, you area and division directors too. The division contest will be in April. The finals for the district championship will be at the May Spring Conference on May 21. How many of you are going to make sure that your club is represented at the area level? I do not want to have to return trophies again this year. Okay? Make it happen. Let's talk for a minute about incentives. There is a sheet in your packet about incentives. May I take a look at yours? Thank you here. Okay. Contest. Oh, by the way, there's a sheet in here about a little bit about contests if you need to motivate your other officers. And there's a contest schedule for the area contest. You want to make sure that your winner can attend. By the way, always report your winner and the number 2 person, because if for some reason the winner can't go on to the area level, the backup person, the number 2 person, goes on to contest. Okay, there's a sheet that looks like this that is incentives, and these are some things that we want you as officers to really be aware of and to help make your clubs aware of. First of all, if you have 4 officers trained by January 31, when is January 31?
Sunday.
Tomorrow. Oh my God. If your club has 4 officers trained by tomorrow, the president goes to the spring conference for free. If your club has 7 officers trained by tomorrow, the vice president of education also goes for free. Now, that's a pretty big deal, because the spring conference is going to be about $70. Okay? Number 3, achieve Talk Up Toastmasters Membership Building Award. So, Talk Up Toastmasters, we do this every year. Toastmasters International requests its districts to have a couple of membership drives. One is Beat the Clock, and that means that you try and get 5 new or dual members or reinstated members to join between Feb 1 and March 31. So you got 2 months to get 5 members. That's 4 meetings. That's doable. Okay? And if you do that, Vice President Membership, Vice President PR, and the Treasurer will each receive a Toastmasters computer messenger bag. Those are really nice. I've got 2 of them. The first one fell apart, and I complained to Toastmasters, and they changed vendors and got a better one, so now you get the better one. And then the Beat the Clock is, as we're coming down to the wire on June 30th, when we need all the clubs and the district and divisions in the areas to have more members. Beat the Clock, if you get 5 new dual or reinstated members between May 1 and June 30th, that's another 2-month period, your club gets a certificate for $100 to spend in the Toastmasters gift store. There are all kinds of goodies you can buy there. Everything from a new banner to a banner stand to a lectern to ribbons so you can acknowledge people, to officer pins, yep, all kinds of things. So earn those $100. Now, Kathleen is here, I think. She got her car taken care of? Where are you, Kathleen? Okay, good. This is very important for you to help Kathleen getting new clubs. If you provide Kathleen, and this is what she looks like, I had her picture up a few minutes ago. Yeah, give her a round of applause for moving her car. Today, I want you to talk to Kathleen, especially in her session later about new clubs. I want you to talk to her about any possibility you can think of for a new club in a community, maybe with the Chamber of Commerce, maybe with a neighborhood council, maybe with a company in your area, and talk to her about how she can support you and how our team can support you in making a new club there. If your club gives her an idea that turns into a new club, your club is going to receive a banner stand, a lectern, or a $100 gift certificate. So now, if you play your cards right, you can get $200 gift certificates, right? And then 2 new club leads could get your club a customized pull-up banner, like one of these, right? So you tell us what you want on it, we'll pay for having it made. That's pretty good. They cost a couple $100. Those are the incentives we have for the next couple of months. Not a lot of them, but they're very valuable and they're very good, and they will help you as a club, and they'll help us. So, thank you, Sophie. I mentioned earlier the Website Excellence Program. There is a workshop on that this afternoon. But basically, we have a list of 10 things that we feel that every website should have to be considered excellent in supporting your club and what it's trying to do. And if your club gets 5 of those things done, you get a bronze medallion to put on your website. An image of a bronze medallion, not a real one. Okay, glue it to the TV screen. And if you get 7 or 8 of the points, you get a silver medallion. And if you get 9 or 10, you get a gold medallion. And there's some extra things you'll find out about in the workshop. There's a flyer that will be available at that workshop. They've got some bonus points that are available. So we want every club to have an extraordinary website. If your club does not have a website, raise your hand, please. A working website, right. Okay, so there's several of you, but I suspect there may be more, or you may not know. But this is the way people are finding out. I belong to several clubs. One of them is a club I founded a couple of years ago called Lofty Speakers, meets downtown. And we were struggling with membership. We had like 6 members at one point a year and a half ago. And we created a meetup. The meetup now has 150 members. Our club now has 27 members. Many of them came from that meetup. So in the sessions this afternoon, you'll learn more about how to use technology to make your club healthier and stronger. Okay, now we're going to talk about several things that are important to leaders and managers. Time management, delegation, motivation, and inspiration. How many of you make and use to-do lists? Okay, so to-do list. Do something else, do more stuff, do that again. Is that what yours looks like? Yeah. Here are some problems that we find with to-do lists. First of all, they tend to be too long. Secondly, they're not prioritized. Thirdly, they're too vague. No specific goals, no by-whens. Remember, a commitment is nothing but words on a piece of paper, unless you do 2 things with it. Share it with somebody else and make a by-when, and any other qualifications that need to happen. So I'm a life coach. I earn my living on the side getting people just to do this. Make commitments and honor them. Because when the only person you have to be responsible to is yourself, and you're not getting paid as an officer for Toastmasters, so it's sometimes easy to let things slide. But when you're not getting paid and you're just responsible to yourself, you can decide that it's much more valuable to you to go thrift store shopping today than to do what's on your Toastmasters to-do list. I know, I do it all the time. I got to get over that. Okay.
We're going to hold you to that.
Yeah, thank you.
By when?
By when? By yesterday. Okay, you don't review or amend your lists frequently or at all. You don't stick to one once you've got it. You don't stick to one thing until it's done. And you don't even look at it sometimes. How many of you, now be honest. You know what? We'll do my old close your eyes trick. Everybody close your eyes so you will not see who else is raising their hand. Okay, close your eyes. Now, if you make to-do lists and then don't follow them, raise your hand. Okay, put your hands down. For the record, 70% of the people in the room raised their hand. I'm wondering about the integrity of the other 30%.
Maybe
So
they
there are
actually
some
do it.
solutions. There are some solutions to this. First of all, you got to prioritize things. Now, one prioritization system says that you can decide that things are urgent and important, or important but not urgent, or urgent but not important, or neither important nor urgent. So tell me something that's important and urgent. Anybody?
Fill up gas in your car.
I'm sorry?
Put gas in your car.
Put gas in your car. If you're going to drive your car, right? What was the other one somebody said? Your house is on fire. What's urgent and important about that? You got to do something about it, right?
Hope that your fire extinguishers are full.
Yeah, okay. Hoping that your fire extinguisher is full is deadly. Yeah. Filling your fire extinguishers is good. So if you put on your to-do list, I hope that somebody fills my fire extinguisher, it ain't going to happen. But if you put fill my fire extinguishers by tomorrow evening, because the house might burn down on Tuesday, then maybe you'll get it done. Okay, what's something that's important, but not really urgent? Raise your hand so I can... Real loud. Taking a shower. Okay. There may be some discussion about this one. But you can decide for yourself, or actually ask your family. But that might be, yeah. Well, what's something that's urgent but not important? Did I do this right? Important but not urgent?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. What's something?
Paying taxes.
Hmm?
Paying your taxes.
Paying your taxes is urgent but not important. Until when? Until until April the 14th.
I thought we talked about the budget. It's
Yeah.
important but not urgent.
Okay. Yes.
Send your CC completion sheet to your EVP.
Send your CC completion sheet to your Vice President of Education. Urgent, but not important.
No, it's important.
Okay, important but not urgent. You see, I joined Toastmasters 16 years ago, and 3 or 4 years ago, the district governor at the time, Joe Lorenzella, came to me and said, "Why aren't you a distinguished Toastmaster?" And I said, "I don't know. I think I've done everything." We looked back at my records. She got me to look back at my records. I found I had done everything except the high performance leadership. I'd given 50 or 60 speeches. I had all that stuff. I had certificates. I'd been an officer. I'd been a district officer. Club. I had every officer club position except treasurer. And it was important, but it just wasn't urgent. And she said, if you get that now, it'll help the district, and it'll help you in your quest to become one of the top 3 in the district. And that raised it to a level of urgency so that within about a month, I had done a high-performance leadership project, and I got my DTM. So that's a good one. Now, what's neither important nor urgent, and you do it anyway?
Cleaning my house.
Again, that might be subject to discussion. If I'm not home, it doesn't matter. Okay, so you see the point. The point here is this is an organizing tool for your to-do list. And so, if you've taken notes, great. If you haven't, just Google to-do lists. Put it on your to-do list, exactly. Here are some solutions. Now, I really strongly recommend this. I have a long list of things that I need to get done. It's unprioritized. But every night before I go to bed, I will take a look at that list and I will pull out 3, 4, 5 things that must be done tomorrow. When you do that the night before, a couple of things happen. Number one, I promise you, you get a better night's sleep because you're not worrying about what you're going to do in the morning. Like last night, before I went to bed at 2 in the morning, I had not found my computer, which has all this stuff on it. And I looked for a half hour and I said, I better get some sleep or I won't be able to stand up here and talk to you people for an hour. And I did not sleep as well as I should have. Yeah. I should have kept looking for that computer because it did turn up eventually to see. Now, making your to-do list the night before is a great way to wake up refreshed and get started right away and even have it prioritized. Don't waste time sharpening your pencils. This is what my father was a film director, and you know they are about as dictatorial as you can be. But he said, one of the worst things you can do is spend all the time getting ready to do the things you need to do. And the way he phrased it was, don't spend all your time sharpening your pencils, use the damn pencils, write stuff. So whatever it is that you're doing in order to get ready, don't let that take all your time. Okay? Or put it on your to-do list in the proper order. Maybe it's something that's important but not urgent. Like having sharpening pencils. You know, I've got one, that's enough. Why do I have to sharpen 10? Lists are best if they are short, specific, prioritized, and action and result oriented. So if you put down grocery shopping, that's short, it's specific. Prioritize it, you know, make it important, have to do tomorrow morning. But which grocery store, you know, go to Ralph's is better than grocery shopping, or whichever your favorite store is. Okay, be specific. I want to talk for a minute now about delegation. Now this is a little chart which, if I don't wear my glasses, I can't see it on here, so I'll have to look on the big screen. Okay. There are jobs that you must do. There are jobs that you can do, but others can help with your advice and with your guidance. There are jobs that others can do, and you can help, but you may not be necessary, and there are jobs that others can do. So this is back to a prioritization system. It's the way you look at the things that you do. One of the reasons that I'm in the top 3 that I wanted to take on leadership training in Toastmasters is because I don't delegate enough. That's why I was up until 2 o'clock in the morning last night. So I'm learning. I'm getting better. But that's what each one of us needs to do. We need to use our Toastmasters officer position or area or a division or district position to improve ourselves. And one of the best ways to do that is delegate. That's why we asked the area governors this time around to find someone in one of their clubs, or usually we have a couple of area directors working together on a contest. So you got 2 clubs, you got 20, 30, 40 people you can pick from. Find somebody who wants to move up, who wants that experience in leadership, and get them to run the contest. Okay. So this is it's a system for delegation. Another way of looking at it is here. Okay. I do. That's real. They call that realization. I do, you watch and learn. That's the way you train people. We do. We work together on it. You do, I watch. This is when you're basically evaluating, like we do with speeches. And you do, and I don't have to worry about it. That's my favorite one, by the way. When I first got a job at a television station as a press representative, I had never written a press release in my life, but I had a degree in English. So he had enough confidence that I might be able to develop into a good writer. For the first month, every press release I wrote, I took in, I gave it to the boss, and then I stood over his shoulder while he red penciled it. He studied writing with Rod Serling, so there was a lot of red pencils in there. By the second month, I would go in, and he would just glance at it, not red pencil anything, and say, it needs a little bit of improvement. And then later, I didn't have to take it in at all, because I learned. So this is the way you train people, and it's part of the delegation process. How do you delegate? Well, there's several steps. Pick the right person. Don't over-delegate. How do you pick the right person, by the way? Oh, Marcia, stand up. Sounds like you've got some answers here. How do you pick the right person?
Well, you can't beg somebody. They need to be interested.
They need to be interested. What else?
don't give them too much without you knowing whether they can do it, because you don't want to set them up to fail.
That's, don't over delegate. That's good.
The explain why you're delegating is the training that you just showed us in that
Yep.
past slide. Make instructions specific.
Well, you're actually going down the list, but back to the first one. How do you pick very good. That's fine. How do you pick the right person? You're dead on right. They have to be interested in it.
Well, it should be certainly capable, and you can assess that by their past performance and maybe similar tasks where they have to use those kind of skills.
Very good. So look at their past performance. If it's somebody who always shows up late, don't expect them to be there on time if you give them the job. Or make darn sure. Yes, sir.
One of the things is to make a lot of bad choices. You have tried and did everything you could, and it keeps fizzling. And after a while, you understand what it is to make a bad choice on delegating.
So you're saying that one of the ways to know how to pick the right person is to pick the wrong one several times so you learn.
And learn from it.
I don't think you have to do that. That'll happen. Okay. So provide them with training, touch base occasionally, make sure that you offer feedback until they got it right, and don't micromanage. And always say thanks and acknowledge people. There are a couple more things I want to emphasize to you as officers in Toastmasters. One is Toastmasters values. Take these to heart. They are written on the front of this little card at the bottom: respect, integrity, service, and excellence. So I think we all know what those mean. I have my own set of values, which I will add to that, which is, and it's the way I urge you to lead people in your club, commitment. Commitment is saying something publicly. If you commit privately to do something, there's no way in hell you're going to hold yourself to it if something better comes along. Commit yourself publicly. Be in integrity about your commitment. Now, integrity doesn't, we put a lot of weight on that word, like you're a person of integrity or you're not a person of integrity. I prefer to look at integrity with regard to whatever it is you committed to. So if you commit to be there at 8 o'clock and you're there at 8 o'clock, you're in integrity. If you're 1 minute late, you're not in integrity with regard to being there at 8 o'clock. When you're not in integrity, what is there to do? Apologize to whomever you need to apologize to and recommit to do it right in the future. That makes integrity not a huge thing, but a hugely important thing. So integrity isn't a permanent stamp against or for your character. Integrity applies to each and everything that you commit to do. One way to avoid integrity is to avoid commitments. A nervous titter of laughter skirted through the room. So, communication is another essential. And finally on my list of values is love, and this is not love as a feeling. If I asked this 100 of you in the room here to define love off the cuff, and if you haven't heard me speak on this subject before, it has something to do with the way you feel about something, the way you feel about somebody. And I suggest you might want to try out a different definition of love in all aspects of your life, not just Toastmasters. Consider that love is your commitment to the happiness and success and well-being of, fill in the blank, your spouse, your parents, your children, your neighbors, your boss, your employees, the job you're doing. If I love my job if I love my membership in Toastmasters, I'm going to commit myself to the happiness and success and well-being of myself as a speaker and a leader, and to the people in my club. If I love my job at work, I'm going to commit myself to the happiness, success, and well-being of my boss, my employees, the company, the profit we make, whatever it is. That's a definition of love that won't go away, and it doesn't go away because you keep it there. A lot of people think, how can I love that person? They don't love me back. You can love anybody, anytime, anywhere, anything by saying so and by acting out of integrity with that commitment. That's the most important lesson of today. Set an example. Be the first in, be the first out. Show people how to do it right. Let people know what you do and why you do it. Provide a clear path for others to follow. Don't be afraid to say, I don't know. Let's find out. Let's find out together. If you avoid letting people know that you don't know something, then you're misleading them. Okay. Create a culture of positivity, possibility, and success. As leaders of your club, this should be a mantra. Always be positive. Always look at what's possible. Don't wallow in the mire of hope. Hope, for me, means placing the responsibility outside yourself. I can hope that I don't get struck by lightning because I don't have any control over that. But if and I can hope it doesn't rain today, but I can commit myself to have an umbrella. Okay. So think about what's possible. Don't hope for something. Create possibility via commitments and the integrity of living within those commitments. Don.
The only thing I'd add.
Now stand when you talk so everybody can hear you.
The only thing I'd add is just a comment in terms of commitment. There is such a thing as overcommitting, and that naturally will affect your integrity. So if you feel you've got too much on your plate, and there is a value of delegating, or in the situation, sometimes you have to say no. Because if you say yes, and then it turns out you spread too thin and you can't follow through on something and drop the ball, then your integrity is affected. So
very good. Thank you, Don. We need you to help us build leaders. So keep your eye out for people who are future leaders in your club, for future leaders in the area and the division and the district. And by the way, every club officer should have someone in the club who is not an officer training for their position. If you don't do that, go back to your clubs and do that. If you're a sergeant at arms, be training the next sergeant at arms. If you're the vice president of public relations, find somebody who likes public relations and wants to commit themselves to that, as Marcia said, who's interested in it. Every club officer should have an assistant to back them up if they're not there, or to run for that position in May. It makes the transition much better, much smoother. It makes your club much healthier. Encourage professional training. We should have twice as many people here. I'm glad we don't, because they don't have that many chairs. But if we start getting more members, we will get more chairs. I promise you, that's a commitment. We'll find a bigger place. Have conversations with members regarding their goals and communicate in communication and in leadership, and inspire them to reach those goals.